Let me take you to my galaxy. Say goodbye to all your wars. Close your eyes, I'll be your gravity. Time to lose sight of the shores. My silver skies are finally clearing, and all my scars are finally healing. I got a heart that
The Asus TUF F15 is an upper mid-range gaming laptop with a well-rounded configuration. It comes with an Intel Core i7-12650H processor, an NVIDIA GeForce GPU that can be spec'd up to RTX 3070, 16GB of RAM upgradable to 32GB, 512GB NVMe SSD, an option of Full HD or QHD. Actually, this is the laptop I'm using for all my workflows. It comes spec'd with an Intel Core i7-12650H processor, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060, 16GB of RAM which I bumped up to 32GB, and 512GB Gen 4 PCIe SSD which I bumped up to 2TB. Links to this laptop and other upgrade accessories are in the description below. Now let's go ahead and jump in. Starting with design and build quality. The 2022 TUF F15 retains its thin and slender appearance but undergoes significant design tweaks. The lid is a bit simpler, with only the TUF logo and no TUF letters, unlike the predecessor. This time, we also got a complete keyboard that covered the entire surface of the chassis. Yes, there are no spaces on the board's left and right sides. Despite these alterations, it still has a sexy vibe to it. Above all, it's still a rather thin and light laptop with relatively unchanged total dimensions compared with the previous version. There is some subtle bling, such as the cross-shaped light notification arrangement and the trapezoidal cut on the lower center of the display cover. These lend some character to the otherwise modest and understated laptop. Personally, it appears to be a high-end professional device rather than a gaming device, and that is one of the numerous things I love about this laptop. Our model is totally covered in a black matte-like material that looks and feels nice, but attracts a lot of fingerprints. I only wish it was a little more resistant to dust and prints. This one is built to take a beating, and you can tell when you carry it around. The 2022 TUF F15, like all TUF devices before it, adheres to the MIL STD 810H specification. After all, Asus considers its TUF brand to be a champion of durability. Its aluminum construction lends better support to the lid, making it less wobbly. The general build quality of the laptop is great. The TUF F15 2022 has two display options, 2560 by 1440p QHD and 1920 by 1080p Full HD. Our review model is 1080p Full HD with a refresh rate of 144 Hz. We not only get great visuals and good color accuracy but also support for adaptive sync. Overall, you'll have a terrific time enjoying media with the TUF F15 2022 Full HD model. You'll have an even better gaming experience, especially with titles that offer amazing visuals, such as RPGs and adventure games. Don't rule out fast-paced games like MOBAs and FPS, as this display has a 3 millisecond response time. It may not be 1 millisecond, but it is low enough to provide a seamless gaming experience with these types of games. I had no trouble enjoying any form of game on the TUF F15 display. The screen handled games like Mount & Blade 2, Bannerlord and Age of Empires 4 admirably. Overall, the screen will not disappoint, and the internals, which we'll discuss further later, can handle whatever you throw at it. The TUF F15 boasts dual-firing speakers that enable Dolby Atmos. The addition of Dolby Atmos may have contributed to the improved audio quality of the TUF F15 over its predecessor. It may also be better than most on the market in terms of volume while keeping clarity. The mids and highs are extremely clear, and there is some bass. It's fantastic. When playing audio-reliant games with amazing soundtracks, such as FPS and RPGs, I recommend using your preferred gear. Even though, you can still play some games and have fun by just using the laptop speakers. The speakers come with well-regarded ASUS two-way AI noise-cancelling technology as an added benefit. The keyboard on the F15 2022 is slightly larger than on its predecessor. Unlike the 2021 version, which has some gap between the board and the end of the chassis, this time it takes up all of the available space. Apart from that, I have no complaints about the keyboard. For a chiclet, it still provides decent feedback and tactility and is enjoyable to type on. However, because the keyboard is larger than I am used to, I had to make some minor adjustments. So, during my first few days with the laptop, I made a few mistakes. Asus did tone down the bling on the F15 because the keyboard and chassis don't have any RGB lighting. What we have is plain old white light, at least it isn't red. You can still gain certain effects from the Armoury crate. There's not much to say about the trackpad, which is a big, smooth clickpad right in the middle of the chassis. It's big enough for swiping gestures, but small enough to circumvent palm registers. The TUF F15 has an average port selection for a tiny and light computer, so if you have a lot of cable peripherals, you may need to use a hub to handle them all. The left side of the laptop is the busiest. Thunderbolt 4, USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A, HDMI 2.0B, RJ45 LAN, and 3.5mm connectors are located here. Then, over to the right, there's a lone USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A port. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2 are the standard connectivity options. Now, let's talk about the big issue with the previous TUF F15 last year. Asus' first attempt in this range was a flop in this regard. The 2021 F15 has a decent GPU, it's simply that the CPU couldn't handle it or was a bottleneck. However, with this new Asus TUF F15, Asus created a perfect CPU-GPU pairing. The TUF F15 is powered by Intel's Core i7-12650H processor and NVIDIA's RTX 3060 GPU. The pair complements each other and is powerful enough to play games and content creation in full HD and QHD resolutions. It also outperforms its predecessor. The battery life is one of the instances where the good things end for the 2022 TUF F15. Even with NVIDIA's MUX switch technology, which automatically switches between the discrete GPU and the integrated one, the battery life on the laptop is moderate. During our typical battery test, we loop a 1080p video at 50% brightness and volume while plugging in headphones and turning off Wi-Fi. This year's F15 lasted only about 5 hours and 18 minutes. Not a really spectacular result, which also translates to our real-world usage, where it lasted slightly longer but was still insufficient. Unfortunately, you won't be able to use it in coffee shops or other public places for extended periods of time without a plug-in. When it comes to upgrading, it offers the conventional laptop choices for swapping and adding storage drives and RAM modules. You have 2 storage and RAM slots, both of which are conveniently accessible. It is important to mention here that the laptop supports the latest DDR5 4800 MHz RAM technology, and 4th Gen PCIe SSD. As is always the case with thin and light laptops, sacrifices must be made at some point. That is on thermal performance for the TUF F15, as it can become rather hot both inside and out. During our stress testing with Furmark for the GPU and Prime 95 for the CPU, the components reached their maximum temperatures of 90 degrees and 100 degrees Celsius, respectively. These are absurd values to achieve in stress tests, and they also translated to real-world temps. During gaming, we averaged temperatures of 83 degrees to 87 degrees Celsius on both the CPU and GPU. Outside temperatures rose as well, with the areas around the exhaust hotter than the rest of the chassis. While the temperatures are on the higher side, the fans are remarkably silent. Even at their hottest, TUF F15 fans were not roaring to the point of no return, unlike other thin and light laptops out there. They are spinning as fast as they can to cool the device. The pros are lightweight and well built, powerful performance, good selection of ports, great audio, competitively priced. And the cons: the display is a bit dim. On whether you should buy this or not. The Asus TUF-F15 was designed for high-performance tasks like editing videos, rendering images, and playing games. This can be done in both the Full HD and QHD resolutions with high to maximum settings on the laptop. This laptop is Asus's most affordable productivity and gaming laptop series at this point, and a lot more powerful than the previous generation. It's still a thinner and lighter alternative for the full-size TUF gaming models and is still an Intel-exclusive design, but it is a balanced performer and competitively priced. So, is the Asus TUF-F15 worth buying? If you are planning to buy a gaming or content creation laptop that doesn't go crazy over gamer aesthetics, while also delivering a solid performance, then this Asus TUF-F15 is for you. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and leave a like. If you're new to the channel and you like the video, consider subscribing. Be sure to check out the description for links to find the most up-to-date pricing and deals on all the products mentioned in this video. And now, you've been tech quadrangled. You're now better informed to buy it right the first time. See you in the next video. Cheers, have a good one.
Close your eyes, I'll be your gravity. Time to lose sight of the shores.
We keep running faster and faster.